And we are recording on Tuesday, August 1st, 2023 at 6:12 p.m. Eastern time with Dr. Simon Goddek, who's I think you are actually now in the top 0.001% of guests because I think you have a fancier camera than me. So he's coming on like the first day of prison. You go in, you're supposed to beat up the biggest guy. That's what he just did. He just walked into my podcast with a better camera. So I guess this is his show now. But Simon, please introduce yourself, man, and let's jump into it.
Well, I'm Simon. Um, I used to be a scientist at the top university. I got canceled several times for speaking out on Twitter, and I think that's all we need to know. Yeah, I hold a PhD in biotechnology,
Okay.
so in system thinking.
Okay.
So that's my background, literally.
Um, and I think I originally, when I emailed you, it was about someone had requested that to talk to you about Dr. Peter Hotez, and I think I said some emails like I want to talk about like how evil he is, and you're like, well, we'll aim for more professional, but sure. So can you maybe explain who? Because my only knowledge of him is Dr. McCullough had mentioned his name on the show before, and I had Dr. Malone on right when Hotez and Rogan were going back on Twitter. That's all I know about him. So, I mean, all jokes aside about him, I don't know anything about him. So, could you maybe inform me or my audience as to who he is and what are the drawbacks of him?
Oh, that's a good one. I think he's a dog for children. Um, he's very influential.
Uh-huh.
He writes many scientific articles
Mm-hmm.
for the Lancet, for British Medical Journal, for Nature, etc. So he has very good connections to politicians and decision makers for scientific journals, so editors. That's actually all I know about him, and I know that he consistently changed his mind within the last 3 years.
Okay.
I only know him from Twitter. I didn't know him from anywhere else because I wasn't in vaccine research, and he was obviously. That's all I know. So I actually know him from Twitter, from the comments he makes, and which are totally unscientific and offensive. So this is my knowledge about him, and this is all I need to know because whatever he's saying, and then he's telling new stuff, new stuff, new stuff. He's like sometimes within 4 days he's contradicting himself to like 100%. And this is something that needs to be addressed and that raises questions because he's very influential on the media, on CNN, on MSNBC, on Twitter itself, and wherever you are. So this is something that annoyed me at least, and when I got on Twitter, and it was 2021.
When were you when were you kicked off?
I got on Twitter, and I think it was January 2021. I got kicked off on June 2021. So,
Hell yeah. Um
yeah.
yeah, no, it's I mean, as someone that's been permanently banned from YouTube and iTunes and Reddit, and I was banned from Twitter for a while and I got back on. Yeah, I really I really don't hold any allowance or sympathy in my heart or mind for censorship. I just, I'm always of the mindset that the truth will prevail and that people can think for themselves. I
Yeah.
don't think that, you know, I'm sure during like a world war, national security, yeah, there's stuff where you maybe can't talk about it. But in general, the idea of like, like when I'll interview Dr. McCullough or Dr. Malone, this is how the normal comments will go. Why are you posting this interview? You're killing people. And I'll respond, well, who am I killing? Well, you're getting people to not take the vaccine. And I'll say, did I convince you to not take it? And they'll say, no, like you didn't trick me. Well, why didn't I trick you? Because I saw through your bullshit. Okay, so let's screen grab that. Does that mean that other people are not capable of seeing through it? So what they're really implying or admitting passively is that they know what's best. And to me, that is the evil that leads to all problems in the world is someone thinking that they know what's best. So as a scientist yourself, your thoughts on censorship and the idea that we need to curb misinformation or disinformation. I mean, sure, not everyone has a PhD in X, Y, or Z, but at a certain point, can people not not just deduce information for themselves?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, but the problem was, and that's why I think I was kicked off Twitter, is because I was always demanding a dialogue. So I
Uh,
always said, like, look, there's no science that's settled. No, said the science is settled. You can't question the science. I'm like, this is impossible. Question things is science. So whenever people in the Middle Ages said like, "Hey, the Earth is flat," and there's this one guy said like it wasn't,
yeah,
you got into trouble, but it shouldn't be like that because science is supposed to question the status quo.
yeah,
And that's what many scientists did, and they all got booted off of Twitter. I mean, like Twitter is just like a social medium. It's even worse. Like many of us lost bank accounts, access to bank accounts, access to money. I lost 3 jobs just for raising questions. And I mean, like my last employer, he said, or they said, that it was exceeding my right of expression. They couldn't come up with any excuse like saying, okay, here you said something wrong, but they just said like exceed your right of expression. So you said stuff we don't like.
mm,
And back then I wasn't even going against the climate. I wasn't going against trans people. I was just like still going against the vaccine and pro vitamin D, which got them mad at me. And I was calling out people. I was calling out like people like Hotez, but just by asking questions. I was just like posting screenshots that like, hey, this is what you said 2 years ago.
yeah.
What's your stance on it now? Of course, it got retweeted a lot. These people blocked me because I think they were embarrassed by their own statement, which they made, even though they knew better. This got me into trouble. And this is what got many other people in trouble. It's not like that we said something that's radical. It's not. We're just questioning the status quo, and this should be allowed as a scientist.
That's and that's kind of like the huge thing is when you're not even allowed to ask the questions. But I think we're going through some sort of phase change or cycle where, I mean, only a supercomputer could know and love every variable. But we're at some point where it was only a matter of time between or before the consolidation of media, government power, pharmaceuticals, and an eventual pandemic. Everything, the planets were going to align eventually. And I think we're just seeing the natural overreach of greed. It will snap back wildly because you can't cover it forever. You can't cover up every death, and eventually people's own mind will start to. They won't want to say anything because they won't want to get banned, and they're going to want a virtue signal and blah blah blah. But even the dumbest person eventually is going to start scratching their head and going like, "Wait, hold on. I thought they said it stops transmission." And then they said, "Well, it keeps you out of the hospital." And then they said it keeps you from dying. And then they said, vitamin D is racist. And then they said you can't do this and you can't do that. And then you start to see again, even those video montages of Dr. Hotez being like, one shot is enough. And then it's like 2 shots. Like this has always been a 3 shot, therapy. And then, I've always said 4 shots. And
Yes.
eventually it's like, yeah, by sunrise every morning, you need to take a
Yeah.
booster to the eyeball or something. Like even the dumbest person is eventually going to question it. And the thing about it is it's not all passive. It's not like it's a saline shot and they go, hey, they're just making money. I mean, people are dropping dead. People, the healthiest people out there are dropping dead. So
Athletes. Yeah.
yeah. And so to me, that's just I'm a little jealous of you. You got blocked by Peter Hotez. I haven't been blocked by him. I'm trying my hardest. But I mean, so let's play devil's advocate. Let's say, let's say whatever. Let's say I'm a doctor and people are saying that the vaccines are bad and Joe Rogan invites me on to debate them. I might go, yeah, man, I'm not gonna debate you. It's not worth my time. But if your desires as a doctor are to get people to live healthier lives, this is the analogy I use. You're a kid, mom and dad, there's a monster under my bed. Your dad goes, shut up, go back to bed. There's not a monster under your bed. But after like the fifth straight night and the kids aren't sleeping well and they're 4 years old, dad might finally go, you know what? It would be in their best interest for me to go in there, pick up the mattress and go, look, buddy, there's nothing there. And that is worth their time, right? Because the dad loves the kids and wants them to sleep well. So at a certain point, when you see so much hysteria wrapping around these shots, as a doctor, you would eventually want to come down from your ivory tower and, go preach enlightenment to the peasants. So why isn't he doing that?
Peter Hotez.
Yeah, or anybody. Why aren't they taking Rogan's or RFK Jr.'s request?
Well, I think he's highly corrupt, but just my opinion. I don't have evidence for this, but I mean, like, it appears he is.
Yeah.
So he's selling his own, or wants to sell his own vaccine. He probably gets money from big pharma. So there are money streams from big pharma that led to at least his employer. So there are many, many, many open questions, and also I think the amount of money that Peter Hotez obviously regarding Google owns, I think it's double digits million US dollars. So I mean, where does he get the money from, and where does it come from? And there are many, many, many question marks. Especially he was like stating in front of Congress, I think it was in April 2021. I think it was 2021, maybe it was 2020. It was 2020, I'm sorry. He said, like, against a respiratory virus, he should like creating a vaccine doesn't make any sense. It could be eventually harmful. And 4 days later, he said like totally the opposite. But it's also part of this video you mentioned. It's just like crazy what he's doing. And every time he said, like, well, I always said that, and then I always said that. And I mean, like, the proof is out there, and he still doesn't say, like, oh, guys, I've been wrong thousands of times. No, those who speak out against him, they're like labeled as anti-Semites because he's obviously Jewish, which I didn't know. I called him Dr. Evil because he's, like, in my opinion, he's totally evil. And they were framing me as being as
Nazi,
supporting anti-Semitism, exactly, because they said, like, being evil is associated with Judaism, and I would never associate being evil with Jew, but they said so. Yeah. So they said, like, I'm a Jew hater. I mean, like, I didn't even publicly deny that because it's so ridiculous that I'm like, okay, why should I now
don't even engage. Yeah,
exactly,
don't even engage.
Exactly. It's so ridiculous. So, I mean, these are things that happen. Then he blocked me, and his friend Jamie, whatever it's called, is Gavin Jamie. He's also professor for whatever. he was going after me and said, like, I'm the biggest mobber and I'm anti-Semitic, and that's all they do. They don't. When you ask them questions and you say, like, look, there's something wrong, they don't engage with your inquiry. So all they do is just going ad hominem, and they try to smear you. And this is what Hotez does. And that was Hotez is doing against RFK. That's what Hotez is doing against anyone who is just questioning the narrative.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have much hope. I mean, I'm a white guy with blue eyes. I mean, I use the wrong word, and they're like, Nazi. And I'm like, my grandpa killed Nazis, and they're like, shut up. But yeah, no, that's always a good tactic when you're a doctor pushing for vaccines and someone questions it and you call him an anti-Semite. It's always a valuable tactic. And he does it's weird. It's called Corbivax. It's he does head up his own vaccine production for COVID, and I think his claim is that they have like they use no patents, and it's like an intellectually property free thing. But here's the thing they all do, him, Bill Gates, they all push it to like third world countries. I think that's primarily where his is rolled out. Is they talk about how they use an old technology, I think yeast fermentation, and maybe it's not third world. I think they do. I think he does it in Indonesia, and I think Africa. They always roll it out there and push it out, but then you can't talk about it. You can't discuss it. You can't confront it. And I think,
yeah, of course, if you do it, you're anti-science, anti-science aggression, and anti-vaxxer. That's what they said.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you can't question the vaccine. You can't question like how it was created, where it is distributed, what the effects are. You cannot question anything because anti-science aggression. That's what you said. And he even published a paper in The Lancet, which is in Nature as well, where he said, like, okay, people who are questioning and opposing the vaccines, they should be treated as terrorists. And it passed peer review. I mean, just imagine, for a normal scientist like me, we would never pass. We would never even make it into The Lancet in Nature. It's like the top-notch journals in the world. They have the highest impact factor, and he gets all his shit published there. He even claimed that we need a vaccine against malnutrition. I mean, like, who comes up with this shit?
What?
Peter. Exactly,
How the
exactly.
fuck do you do that?
I don't know. He said like,
Malnutrition?
well,
Like not
his
enough
lot.
calories? Or
Yeah,
like
well, not a vitamin. I have no clue, but his logical reasoning was, okay, look, COVID is destroying the economies. It wasn't. I mean, the measures were destroying the economies, but in his
yeah.
paper, he said that COVID was destroying the economies, which leads to people who will be, yeah, with some malnutrition, and second and third world countries who need a vaccine against it. That was his old publication, and like, it's like totally bullshit.
Yeah, the thing that always just throws my mind for a loop are, I mean, like 10 years ago, we had the Occupy Wall Street, these corporations are evil. And 10 years later, you have people rallying on behalf of these trillion-dollar corporations to take an experimental shot. Uh, the mental gymnastics to me is insane. Dr. Goddek, you there? Oh shit, I think we lost him. Oh, his teleprompter's still there. I'll email him. Oh, I think connection just broke up. I think we lost him. Oh, is he back? There he is.
Yes, I'm back.
All right,
And
yeah.
I need to, let's see. It's
No,
my VPN. I'm
no,
always using VPN. My VPN was disconnecting.
you're good. You're good. You're back. But yeah, just kind of on I guess a less scientific note, and just kind of I guess a question to you as for everyone that I've never talked to you before. It's not like you and I are buddies or something like, but just as a scientific guy, what I mean, we see it on a microcosm, right? I'm not going to take the Trump vaccine, and then Biden gets elected, and I'm going to take the Biden vaccine. So right there, you see that sort of dichotomy. But it's so insane to just go back 10 years and to see the people rallying rightfully against these corporations. And 10 years later, they're just on behalf, take the Pfizer vax. Don't you dare question it.
Yeah.
And it, I don't, maybe I'm the idiot for trying to understand this. Where does this go? How do we get, or is it a certain point you just unplug and go, yeah, man, I don't know. The people that are gonna walk off the cliff are gonna walk off the cliff. Like, I'm just gonna go better myself. Like,
I have no fear for this because actually I was kind of left wing myself. I mean, like, not
oh,
woke, but I was more center left.
I was very liberal
Leaning.
for a while. Yeah.
Yes, and I mean, at least my view in the past was that you don't trust big corporations, and many other people from the movement also had this view. But what I also think is, like, the mindset of these people is they are all literally socialist, and they say, okay, look, we need a strong government to guide us, And as soon as the government said, like, look, guys, big pharma is really the shit. It's really good. Yeah, exactly. They were all
These are
like,
my brothers, dude.
exactly. They're all like, okay, we should take the vaccine. You can see the same with Ukraine. Most of the
Yes,
leftist and liberals were like anti-war. Oh my gosh, we can't have wars. And now the governments are like, okay, well, Russia's evil, war is good, and they're like, okay, war is peace. Let's cheer for war.
it's the
And
craziest shit ever.
yeah, it's just super insane. And you can literally see it for COVID. You can see it regarding Ukraine. You can see it regarding climate change. Whatever the government tells them, they're like, okay, they're like praying to the golden calf. And I think that's a dangerous phenomenon. And yeah, it actually leads to free speech being oppressed and those with different opinions being persecuted.
Yeah, it's I mean, my litmus test always comes down to who is against the discussion, right? So I mean, I've interviewed Delta Force guys, Green Berets, and you have them, and they'll come on here and say we don't need to be at war with Ukraine. This is a proxy war, but let's just play devil's advocate. They're more conservative guys, so maybe in a parallel universe where Trump was in office, they might be for it. Whatever. I don't know. If let's just say if Trump was still in office, maybe all these doctors would be against the vax. Who knows? But when you float these ideas, right? So I'm not a doctor. I have a biology degree. Nobody fucking cares. But what I do is I get in touch with all these doctors and they come on the show and they speak candidly about everything, right? Whenever I try to get someone to come on to give the opposing view, they'll just yell at me, block my email, or they'll say I'm not going to come on. I mean, your show needs to be taken down. You never get people that want to talk about it, and to me, that is like if someone truly believed in it, right? They would go on and they'd talk to you. They might be a little nervous, sure, that's fine, but you would go on and try to defend your point. You'd be like, listen, man, I know you think 2 + 2 is 4, but this is why it's 5. And you'll go back and forth and you'll debate. And then eventually you might go, oh, fuck, you know what? You might be right. Or you
Yeah.
might at the very least go, let's agree to disagree. But the people that go 2 + 2 is 5, and I go, well, could you walk up to the whiteboard and show me? And they say, shut up, you fucking Nazi. And
That's what they say. Yeah.
I don't think you're very confident in your answer. And that's insane.
But that's what you're saying is like a normal conversation you had 20 years ago with other people.
Yeah.
And the new normal.
Yeah.
It's different now. Yeah. I used to join Twitter spaces, especially as Steve Kirsch was trying to find people who want to debate him, didn't find anyone.
No one.
Then we had like some shills talking to us, and eventually they started screaming and just cussing us out. That's all they can do because there are no valid arguments they come up with. If I say, "Hey guys, a man is a man, a woman is a woman," they get triggered and I mean, what can they say?
Yeah,
They cannot counter this, and they would just cuss me out and say like bigot, transphobic. I mean, these are the words they are using, but they cannot come up with a valid argument and say like, "Hey, Simon, you've been wrong because of this and that." I mean, like they would have to deny biology, chromosomes. I mean, like they can't.
yeah.
So
And
they will just cuss you out, and this is what we've been especially seeing the last 3 years. And now with the climate, whenever you say, "Hey, look, the data doesn't look like that," they said like, "Oh wow, you're climate denier." Oh, they use the word denier and anti-science. I mean, they love to do this.
yeah.
Anti-science, you're a denier, you're anti-vax, I mean, like all these words they're using. Right-winged and Nazi, I forgot, but I mean they have their repertoire of words they're using whenever they know you're right but they disagree, or I mean they actually they kind of agree, but I mean like it's in their agenda to try to silence you that way.
Yeah. And it's I wouldn't care about any of this if they were just if you were telling me, you're like, Tommy, listen, dude, 2 + 2 is 5. And I'd be like, Simon, I really don't think it is, man. And you were like, it is. And then you just went back to your house. I'd be like, well, in his house, 2 + 2 is 5, and whatever, whatever. But the thing is like, they're mandating it for people to. I'm lucky
Yeah.
in that I'm my own boss. That is a very rare percentage of people. There are a lot of people who have to go play Russian roulette with this shit
Yeah.
and go, well, I just want to keep my job. And now all of a sudden you're projecting your insanity onto other people. And from, a man is a woman, and okay, well, now you got a man inside of a bathroom with young girls. Or you go, the vaccine science is settled, and I go, okay, whatever, you do whatever you want. But then there are people who are like, I have kids that I have to provide for, and I have a pregnant wife. I'm going to take this shot. Fuck, I hope I don't get a foot-long blood clot. And so now they're forcing their insanity onto others. And so I will never mind agree to disagree. 2 + 2 is 5. More power to you, brother. Fuck do I care? When you're pushing it on other people, and when you're censoring other people, and you're saying you cannot operate in your own reality, you have to operate in mine. Okay, well then we have to meet in the marketplace of ideas and hash something out. But when you won't do that, we're just spiraling the drain of psychosis. And all of a sudden you look back at the last 150 years and you start to understand how these genocides happen. They start very, very slowly. A man is a woman. It's very simple. Take the vaccine one by one by one. and then it turns into physical limitations, and then it turns into limitations backed by the state, and then it turns into censoring all opponents, and then it turns into, well, they're a danger to society because they don't subscribe to our reality, and then we should probably put them away because they're a danger to others and we shouldn't have to suffer. And next thing you know, you're reading in a history book and go, yeah, and then the government killed 7 million people, and never again. And then we're
Yeah, they
fucking
didn't
here.
listen. They didn't listen to the experts. I mean, um, yeah, I don't think it's gonna end up like a genocide as it used to be. I really don't think so. But history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes,
It does
and I'm
rhyme.
afraid it will rhyme to some degree. We don't know how yet, but I mean, like, they already said they want to reduce carbon, and most likely we're made from carbon. They want to reduce population in order to save the climate, and I think the players know that climate change is a hoax. Otherwise, they wouldn't have to manipulate the data.
Yeah.
So the question is, why are they doing this? With what's their goal? And do they really want to kill us? Because I mean, like, on the other hand, you have to see it like this. So actually, everybody who's on their side took the vaccine, and the
Yeah,
critical ones didn't.
it's a
So
weird that's a weird one. That's a
yeah,
weird. You're right. This is what I think. This is kind of my 10,000-foot view. I think for the first time in human history, we're reaching a point where there's automation, true automation, not industrial revolution shit, but I mean, you know, AI is taking over jobs like creating music, right?
it's called fourth industrial revolution. I mean, that's what
Correct.
Klaus Schwab calls it. Yeah.
We are hitting a point that's no matter what dictator you were, whether it's 1850 or 1850 BC, you still got to have the peasants, right? They got to do your shit. You got to keep your chateau going. You need somebody to build your pyramids, whatever. We're reaching a point where they don't actually need us anymore. I think they want the earth for themselves. I don't think they believe in climate change. I think it's as simple as this. They want the earth for themselves. We're gumming up the machinery. They don't want us. They don't want to see you and me and our pesky questions and our podcasts. They don't want any of this shit. I think they want us gone. Why go fucking settle Mars or terraform the moon? You already got an oasis here. What's easier, to go terraform a new planet and to move people to a new planet, or to just kill everyone here?
I
Which
don't
one
think
did?
so. I think they just
All
want
right.
control. I think they just want control. Otherwise, they wouldn't have made. I mean, otherwise they would have vaccinated Africa for free. Um, I think they just want to have control. And they do it that way. They do it socially. They support mass immigration. They actually support canceling of culture, because a weak culture, people who don't have a weak culture or weak patriotism, etc., they will most likely not go against their the narrative. So I think it's more like a global governmental thing, a
Mm,
global coup. And I don't think they want us all dead. Of course, they want to reduce the population, but there are also other means they could use,
yeah,
as in education. The higher people are educated, the more women work, the less children they make. So there are other means, the Chinese means, for example.
sure.
So I don't know what the end game is. I have no clue, but I know what's happening right now is playing wrong, and that's why I'm speaking out.
And you can see what we just did there for everybody listening. Is I said I think they want to kill everyone, and Simon said he thinks they want to control everyone. And you'll notice we both put forward our ideas
I didn't
and
call
let
you a
them.
Nazi at all.
Well, it's like what is it? Doctor Strangelove. The arm starts flying up halfway through. Mein Führer. Yeah, no, it's but that right there, man. How simple is that to just throw out an idea? But that can't be approached. And to me, uh, I think at the very top, they know it's horseshit. I think people like Hotez are useful idiots. I think he believes it. I think he legitimately believes his own psychosis. I can't know that for sure. And legally, I have to say, I can't know that for sure.
Yeah.
But it's not good, man.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'm happy I cannot read his mind. I'm really happy. I would have to read
That's a
so much
I bet
bullshit.
that'd be a dark place. I don't
Yeah.
like that. I don't like that. I also don't trust the bow ties, man. I just don't.
Um,
But dude, uh I know you gotta run. We're coming up on 30 minutes, and I said I'd let you go in
yes.
30 minutes. Thank you for coming on, dude. I'm glad we finally got it. I'd love to have you on again sometime to just shoot the shit about whatever. And again, everybody right there. See, we're not Nazis. We're just hanging out talking. So
Exactly.
guys, go to the description. You can go follow his Twitter. And Dr. Goddek, thank you so much, man.
Thanks for having me.
Dude. Guys, thank you for watching. Stay safe out there.